it can for those who want to take the vows with Master Gilbert. There will be 4 vows shown there later on. So you can follow him or repeat after him. I'm not sure which. Okay. Pay respect.
Oh. First time I've gotten flowers before I've been talked. Thank you very much. I thank all for this very sincere welcoming. I'm very touched about that, and coming here, and we have a little bit of a mixed crowd of people who practice Theravada and practice Mahayana. And I don't come here to draw distinctions between the two. I come here to draw comparisons. In the Buddha, we are all Buddhist here, and I want to show that these practices are consistent with each other, not. And this is what's very, very important. So when we practice, there'll be times when I fall into some habits of practicing and presenting Mahayana, but I also want to make sure that you understand that this applies to Theravada practice as well. It is not something that exclusively Mahayana or exclusively Theravada. My Master Sheng Yen once was in the university in Japan, and every day he would pass a Theravada monk, and he would bow to him. But the Theravada monk wouldn't do anything. He'd just ignore him. And after several days of bowing to him, and the monk, just like as if he didn't see him, he stopped him and said, "Please, let us talk." And so they sat down, and he says, "Every day I bow to you, but you don't bow to me." And he said, "Why?" He goes, "Oh, because you Chan monks are not really monks. You don't practice Buddhism." And Shifu said to him, "Well, do you believe in the 3 jewels?" He goes, "Yes, of course." "And the Eightfold Path?" "Yes." "No." "And the 6 paramitas?" "Yes." And he went through all of them. "Yes, yes, yes." "Well, so do we. So how are we different?" And this is the heart that comes to speak to you today, is this heart that we are, we're all Buddhas. I also want to explain something very strange that happened to me once that perhaps will set the course of what I'm going to be talking about. I was at a big meeting in Dharma Drum in Jinsong, the headquarters of Dharma Drum. And in this headquarters, there were so many people, several thousand people in the audience. And there was the Dharma heirs of Master Sheng Yen in the front. And they were all talking about things. And so most of them had already talked. And I'm going, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Everybody's already said everything. And so I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say to the people. And all of a sudden, as I'm thinking about it, somebody, they tap me on the shoulder and there's the microphone. And I'm like this. And so I began and I said, I would like to thank Master Guo or Abbot Guo. And I stopped there and then I looked and I saw everybody in the audience. They were literally Buddhas. Everybody in the audience was a Buddha. And I was just looking at so many Buddhas. It was so amazing. But how do you explain that to anybody, what you're seeing? But I saw everyone sitting there, standing very far in the back as Buddhas. And I was just looking at everyone. I'm going, all I see is Buddhas. All I see, everyone is a Buddha. And people were looking and they were going, wow, you know, what's with him? You know, they understood from the heart what I was experiencing was that I saw that everyone has a Buddha nature. And that's what's very, very important is that understand that their true nature is the Buddha nature. Master Ling Chi, a Chan master from very old time, he said, do you want to know the Buddhas and the patriarchs? How many of you want to see them? And he said, they're not other than those who are sitting here right now, present with you now. Who are you with? I'm with the Buddha. I'm with the Buddhas. They're all here. This is the essence of our practice, that we all have Buddha nature. How can you go and you know, even if you kick the dog, you're kicking the Buddha. So it gives new meaning to, does the dog have a Buddha nature? No, if you kick a dog, you're kicking a Buddha. They're sentient beings. Because of causes and conditions, they appear in the animal realm, but they're not other than the Buddha mind. If you kick them in this lifetime, maybe next lifetime, you will be kicked by a bigger boot. So you have to be careful. But it is this that brings us together, this heart that brings us into this room today for practice. I so rejoice in this, and I so rejoice that there's a connection of Theravadins and Mahayana sitting in the same room and not picking at one another or anything. We all have Buddha nature. We all are here together to learn. And I will do my best to make whatever I'm presenting to you relevant to both sides. But this is very important that we understand that. So whatever you do, the perfection of wisdom is to understand that everyone has a Buddha nature. Whether there's ghosts, heaven dwellers, ashurlo, animals, and hell dwellers, all of them, all possess Buddha nature. We don't understand this. We only understand the human realm, and we don't do a very good job of understanding that oftentimes. But when we really use wisdom and perfect the wisdom in this lifetime, we can change the world. We really can change it. And my goodness, doesn't this world need changing? So it is something that when we practice sincerely, it will reflect on us. It will reflect how we appear to others. And it will give people confidence to listen to us and that we serve as a guide to others. All of this is what we practice. Now, this is a retreat for meditation, so I have to switch gears for a moment and talk about meditation. So we say meditation, what is meditation? And you think, what do you think? I don't have the time to take questions today. If I had a 7-day retreat, I could take questions and you would say, it is me sitting to quiet my mind. I want to lose my section. But isn't in this way. In the first patriarch, Bodhidharma, Dhamma, his disciple to be, Huike, came to him and said to him, please, quiet my mind for me. I suffer so much from my mind. And so Dhamma said to him, bring me your mind. And so Huike went to look for his mind. Finally, he came back to Dhamma and said, I've looked for my mind all over and I cannot find it. And Dhamma said, then your mind is quieted. Because it is not a concept, it is not a thing. Mind is just mind. We cannot understand that. Again, we cannot understand it because we are an illusion. Mind is real. And I'll explain that a little bit more. Even in the Shurangama Sutra, Ananda was being asked by Shakyamuni Buddha, what is his mind? And he went from very different things, from saying it's outside here, it's inside here, it's in between, whatever. And he could not get it right. Finally, he says, I know now, I know. It is this perfect mind, free from all attachments and all of these things. And it's me in this way. And then the Buddha yelled at him, Ananda, that's not your mind. He was so shocked. He was shocked. He thought he had it. And he was shocked. He was shaking. And so he knelt down in front of Shakyamuni Buddha, and he went, please tell me what my mind is, because I am so confused. I don't know what my mind is. And every one of us in the audience, none of us know what mind is. And please be kind enough to tell us. It was because he was still clinging to something which in the Diamond Sutra states that it's neither a personality, an ego, a life, or a being. We do not understand this. We don't understand what that means to say that there's not us. Us is a concept. You have a concept of yourself. Who is Gilbert? Oh, Gilbert is this. He's impatient, he's patient, he's this way, he's that way, whatever it is. But it's not real. And every time I talk to people, I say, come back in 100 years and make that argument. And if you come back in 100 years, I'll be afraid, because you're definitely not going to be a human. You'll probably be a zombie or something coming back in 100 years. But that's not your mind. Your mind is different. One master was asked, how old are you? He must have been a very old master. He said, oh, I'm as old as Buddha. And they go, well, how old is the Buddha? As old as me. It is just this way. And believe me, as you get older and older, you feel like you're as old as the Buddha. But in any case, it is what I'm bringing you to is to understand that just this mind is the Buddha, not your corporal body. Your corporal body in 100 years will not be here. Mind was never born. It will never be destroyed. We understand it. You should rejoice at that. I mean, instead of going, oh my gosh, there's my body there. I don't want to leave my body. You don't have to leave your body. You can become a ghost and sit next to it in the graveyard. How about that? No, it doesn't sound good. But you love your body. That's what happens when people come to be a ghost. That way, because they cling to it, their body. You have to let it go when it's time. You see the people when they're very old, sometimes they have the right attitude. They just go, in Spanish we say ya basta, means that's enough. That's enough. I don't need this body anymore. Dragging it around and all the ills and aches and everything else. And they're ready to move on. Not bad. Not bad because they let go of that, understand that there's more to it than that. And depending on what religion they are, they may think they're going to go to heaven or they may go wherever they want to, go to. But they're at peace with letting go of the body. We call this the great death. And that doesn't really seem appetizing, does it? And they go, how are you doing? I have encountered the great death. And they go, you saw the Grim Reaper? No. The great death means no longer clinging to this body. So as we sit here on the surface, some of you may think you're going to encounter the great death when your legs start getting sore, but it's not that way. That's just regular pain and suffering. But you will see, what I'm doing is conditioning you to understand what you're doing on a cushion, what you're doing in terms of what is called meditation. The word Chan is the word for dhyana in Sanskrit, meaning practice. What we do is we practice, irregardless of what one is a Theravada or Mahayana. It's all practice. It's all us learning how to harmonize with others, how to harmonize with the environment so that we make the environment better. We uplift humanity. This is the practice. It is not sitting on a cushion waiting for something to happen. That's like a duck sitting on a wooden egg, hoping that it'll hatch. What do you think? Do you think it's ever going to hatch? Probably not. But we sit this way thinking that we will blossom into a Buddha. The most important thing is right now, because of causes and conditions, everyone in this room is hearing something that's so incredibly precious. It is very precious because this mind that is listening to me now is the Buddha mind. You don't have to try to find it on a cushion. Master Ling Chi said, people these days, and this was maybe 500 years ago, they cut off their head and then they proceed to look for their head. Doesn't make sense, right? You cut off your head and it's rolling around and then you want to look for it. How can you look for it when you don't have a head to find it? I'm over here, closer. It won't work that way. Think about that. Chan is so direct. It goes right to it. It says, just this mind listening to me now is the Buddha mind. Pretty good. When you go home and they say, what did you learn from Gilbert's lecture? I'm the Buddha. You don't look like the Buddha. Take out the trash. The Buddha doesn't take out trash. You'll get it. The practice, it points to the Buddha. Everything that we do is in this way. When we sit to meditate, we're pointing to the Buddha. Master Sheng Yen used to say, the Buddha is in the present moment. In this moment, this Buddha is listening to a Buddha talking. It's in the present moment. Not bad. And the Buddha is not other than this mind. The mind itself, just mind. We call this ekayana. Ekayana means that one mind. And initially or historically came about as being one-pointedness of mind. And then it morphed into one-mindedness and to just simply to Buddha nature. But what it's saying is that every moment, everywhere that we look, it's mind. Master Sheng used to always say, you know, and he had these very long arms, skinny arms with long fingers, and he's saying, you're swimming in it every day, swimming in it. And it's true. Always swimming in mind. We don't understand that. But when we understand that, it changes everything because we use a different perception. All of this will come back to meditation in a moment. We use a different perception. So the perception that one uses is the perception of wisdom. The perception of wisdom sees everything as it is. And it is able to get up here and I can walk around the room knowing that I'm walking in a dream. It's strange because you're in a dream and you're walking around intentionally. Have you ever been in a dream and could guide yourself in a dream? Well, this is it. You're guiding yourself in this dream. What do you want to do? You know, and you're there with your car. What do you mean it doesn't work anymore? Oh, it goes in the hole, but there's no money on the other side. So we can't change that causes and conditions. It's just the way it is. We see everything as wisdom. We see what we say to people. The reason I use a lot of humor is because what I'm talking about is very profound. And if I don't use a little bit of humor to cut it, then it's difficult to take it because it's sometimes to some people it's a very bitter elixir. The elixir is something that can make you well. When I was a young boy, this is a story. Actually, all my stories are true, so I shouldn't say that.
Just mic a little bit. I think it keeps.
Is it cutting out?
Yeah, because maybe the internet needs to work with the others.
It seems as though if I talk over here or something, it might work.
Yeah, let's try.
Okay. If it doesn't work, then okay. So anyway, when I was young, I never got sick. Even no, it's still working. Even when I was sick, I wasn't sick because my mom would get out this bottle and it was like a clear bottle with a yellow label and it had this yellow fluid inside. And I kid you not, the formula was 666. And 666 to some of the people who aren't familiar with Christians, it's the mark of the devil. 666, formula 666. And she goes, I heard you cough. No, I didn't cough. I feel good. And then so you have to take the bitter elixir. You know, it almost kills you to taste it because it was so bad. But it was bitter, but it made you feel better. You know, even in spite, you don't want to take it. It made you feel better. I have no idea what was inside of it. It must have been some kind of narcotics or something to put you out, but you definitely felt better. So here I come to give you a bitter elixir but I have to put a little bit of sugar in it to make it so you don't run out the door. Because it may be the end of you, but you go, the end of me. I didn't bargain for that. I just want a better version of myself, like Gilbert point two. But it isn't in this way. It is the end of the idea of an ego or a personality or a life and being. Doesn't mean that you lose your sense of humor or sense of ability to do things. You just lose vexations and desires and aversions. I can't say I lost them all, but I've lost a lot of them. And the ones that I still have, I'm very mindful when they're there. And this again comes to meditation, because in meditation, we have to be very mindful of what is happening. So this term of ekayana, where you hear and they say everything returns to the one. But in Chan, it is where the one returns to. It's different. There's nothing left. Nothing, but this nothing is not nothing like an empty cup. It's a nothing that everything is included, because it is mind. It's not separate that you're seeing something. Mind is seeing things, and that's what makes the meditation work right. And when we get to it, so I'm kind of teasing you into it, but the reason I'm doing that is to have you understand how meditation works. It is not you there trying to silence your mind and stop your thinking. Be honest. How many of you have practiced this way that you want to try to stop thinking? Raise your hands. None of you meditated before? Nobody's ever meditated trying to stop their thinking. There's nothing I need to tell you then. I'm leaving. How many of you ever tell the lie in your life? Okay. In any case, the point is that when we sit and meditate, we sit to meditate with the idea, I am meditating. I am doing this. I don't want to think. I am having these problems. I'm frustrated because I can't stop the mind. It's okay. So we'll see the difference in a moment. And where the one returns to, there's no thought. They refer to that as wunyan. How many of you heard the term wunyan before? Raise your hand. Okay, Gilbert's rules is if I don't teach crocodiles, so your hand is not, can I only go, please put your hand up high. Okay. But some people kind of fudge it like this. All right. So the thing is that it's important for us to understand that before we get on the cushion. If you don't know this, get off the cushion till you know what you're doing. You're wasting time. You're wasting oxygen for the people here. Let's do this right, okay? It doesn't matter who you are. You practice in the right way. It will work. I promise you, okay? So then, so when we sit in meditation, there is no I that is watching the method. And it's interesting because you are an appearance. You are not real. You're part of the dream. Your body is a part of the dream. It cannot meditate. Master Ling Chi said, ask your liver if it can teach you the Dharma. Ask your spleen if it can listen to the Dharma. Can it? What do you think, liver? Oh, I heard. No, that's not what I asked you. Can you explain the Dharma? No, it can't. he's saying the corporal body, this is not what's sitting to meditate. It's easy. It's as easy. It's like teaching people how to fall out of bed. How do you fall out of bed? You just roll over, boom, you're there, right? It's that easy. You just say, Shifu used to say, give your body to the cushion and mind, not your mind, and mind to the method. Give your body to the cushion and mind to the method. There's no you in that. It's just simply the body is there. It's no longer part of the equation. Mind is on the method. And we'll get to that in a moment. You want to try it again?
Yes. I believe it was just the radio just now, so I think if you it should be fine.
Okay. This is your second chance. The third one, and we go to the next technician. Thank you. Okay. So, so when we do this, it is we start with the idea, and there's something in the Chan liturgy that says to know the Buddhas of the past, the present, and the future, perceive that all Dharma Dhatu nature, all phenomena is created by the mind. Everything is created by the mind. All of this here is created by the mind. Not your mind, and not your mind, not my mind, but mine, just mine. There's only one mind, but it appears in different ways, in different manifestations in accordance with causes and conditions. We call that pratika samapada, which is causes and conditions never fail. To the Chinese, it's very easy. It goes back how many generations? You plant a melon seed and you get a melon fruit. No, you don't plant a melon seed and get an apple. That's not going to work. Everything is connected and perfectly appearing in accordance with causes and conditions. But that's good because it isn't just simply, oh, that's your karma, you shouldn't have done that. But it's what you set into motion, knowing how mind works, you can set into motion to harmonize with others, to bring peace here, to clean the place up. If you see a wrapper on the street, you pick it up, put it in the trash can. Okay. Whatever you do, it is just in this way that we harmonize. This is perfecting wisdom, everything that we do. When they say, well, what do you think about that person? And you go, think before you say anything. Okay. So that's wisdom. So you understand how to react and understanding the consequences of all that. All of that comes from using wisdom, which enables one to, in any given moment, to see things clearer. And tomorrow I will talk more about that in terms of that. I'm going to go back to talking about the meditation. And it says that the mind sits and watches mind. And we do that by turning the mind's eye inward. This is a very interesting thing to say, I wish I had an Indian accent so I could say, no, you need to turn the mind's eye inward. And people go, oh, that sounds so profound. With an American accent, it's not so great. But turning the mind's eye inward is very interesting. What does that mean? It is the Heart Sutra. It's the Heart Sutra. When the great Bodhisattva of Avalokitesvara was coursing through the deep prajna paramita, he perceived that all five skandha were empty. He perceived that they were empty, but what are the five skandha? Form, sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness. So perception, how How can that be empty if he's perceiving it? Because he turned the mind's eye inward. He's not using the skandha perception to see things. He's using the mind's own perception to see things. It's different. One of them is conditional, seeing things from the viewpoint of a person, subject and object. The other one is just saying and looking at this hand and seeing this hand. Let's say this is a Dharma body, my body. It wouldn't look at it and say, where did this hand come from? Let me follow it. I don't know where it came from. Where did the arm come from? Of course it knows. It created it. How could it not know? So now we'll go to the audio-visual part of this. Hopefully it'll still work.
Meanwhile, for those who haven't turned off their
Color.
phones
Okay.
and mobile phones to silent mode, please do so before the meditation starts. Reminder to turn off your phone. Thank you.
Okay. So let's say that when you're using the method, we have the method here. So whatever method you're using, it could be counting the breath, which is kind of an interesting one, or watching the breath, because if you watch the breath, you go, what are you watching, right? But you're watching the breath. Or you're counting the breath or using a Chan method of 𝐂𝐴𝑡𝑜 or silent illumination, which is like no method at all, or reciting the Buddha's name. So this is here, the method is projected on mind. It can only be projected on mind. It cannot be anywhere else. Where is it going to be? Where do you mean? In front of you? Am I projected or not projected? Projection. This is there. This is the method. And I have to tell you, this is not to scale, this picture of mind. It's a joke, sorry. So the thing is actually, let me do this first. We perceive ourselves to be here. Picture. Thank you. Looking at the method, right? That's how we meditate. Like that. Something's wrong with this, though. Where did this guy come from if he's not a projection? Doesn't fit, right? Because we have to be outside of mind to see mind as that. But we know by the mind, which includes the person that's meditating. Rather, it's the method here, and then the person is sitting here meditating. You are also in mind. You're in mind, not outside of mind. This is the Dharmakaya, mind ground. You are appearing in the mind ground as a projection, but you believe to be real, separate, but you're not. You're only real to the extent that you're appearing in mind, and you can't be other than mind. There's no non-mind that's there. It would be non-existent because mind is something that it goes out in all directions, all the 10 directions, infinitely. This symbol is infinite. So it's infinite. There's nothing outside of it. Now, what's really happening is when you're meditating, is that the mind, with its own mind, the perception from the Heart Sutra of Avalokiteshvara, is perceiving, but it also is part of mind. It's not dual. It's not two things. It's not one. It is just mind. And so mind is perceiving this. When you're sitting to meditate, it is mind watching mind. Now, these are bonus points for you, okay? So if you get it right, then you in the front. Okay. What of mind is the definition of mind? How big is mind? Anybody know? Nobody know. You haven't gone to the end of mind. How big is mind? You don't know. You're going to know in a moment. So nobody knows how big mind is. What does the sutra say? The Nikayas, what do they say about how big mind is? If we started in that direction, could we ever get to the end of mind? Why? Huh? It's boundless. It's infinite, right? This should have given you the clue here. It's infinite. It's infinite. There's no edge of mind, so there's nothing outside of mind. It's infinite. This is why this part is looking at this is also, it's not two things. Turning the mind inward is to see things as they are. That's what happened in the Heart Sutra, is perceiving things in this way. It is real in this way. It's not inconsistent with the Abhidharma and the reality. The reality in the Abhidharma is that it belongs to mind. But it is not permanent. There's appearances within mind that are just like bubbles in the stream or clouds. They're there. All of this, and please bear with me because this will make a big difference when you're sitting on the cushion. All this makes a big difference because it is mind looking at mind. Now, here's another one. This is a scientific one. Imagine you had one mirror here and one mirror here. What would those mirrors see? I'm sorry? Infinity. And so how would we define infinity? It's go way that way for infinity. It is inconceivable. Inconceivable. If there is an appearance in mind, is there temporarily? No. Like you're at work and they're saying, what are you doing? You know, you haven't done any work forever. What is woo? What is woo? You know, that's your method, right? Or I'm counting the breath. What? You know, that's just temporary. But it is not really your mind. It is just an appearance in mind. So when you have mind, and let's say there's a mirror and a mirror, we don't know what those mirrors would look like because as soon as we stuck our head like that, we'd see our head for infinite times. So we have no idea. It's inconceivable what mind is. Inconceivable. It just goes on and on. When we put the method there, then the method just goes on and on and on and on and on. And what you created is a mind sandwich with a piece of bologna in the middle, which is the method. It has no value. It is just a temporary appearance that's there. But other than that, the mind still retains its nature of infinite. Imagine you're sitting on your cushion. Mind looking at mind. It's infinite. That's pretty cool. It's infinite. There's nothing that's there that is not mine. Even the bologna, the method, is just a temporary appearance in mind. Because it's just one thing, it doesn't have a value anymore as being anything, because it's just there repeating like a bookmarker in a book, just to keep you there instead of watching something else, going to the market or going to work or feeding your dog or walking your dog or whatever it is. It is just a placeholder. You compare that, so then something else comes up, a money problem, then you go, method or money, method or money? No, method. So that goes away. And it may come back again. You know, it may be, I was going to draw a dog, but it turned out to be a cat dog. It's your pet. No, comparing it to the method, that's not your method. So you just let the pet flow through. Money problem flow through, you know. A relationship, you know, flow through. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, it doesn't stay, because the mind is not attaching to anything. It's just simply sitting, mind watching mind. It's not your mind, Ananda. It's mind. It's just mind watching mind. Please really try to feel this. Mind watching mind. You are not in the equation. You're part of the baloney. Okay? How many of you want to be the baloney? So it is in this way is how things are seen. This is called and this side is called Rujing, Ruzhi and Rujing. Together, they're called Ru. Were you guys saying Ru or going Ru? Ru, right? I've just drawn Ru for you. This is how it is. This is how mind works. Now you're permitted to sit and meditate here, because now you know what you're doing on the cushion. You're not doing anything. Mind is just sitting. That's why they call it just sitting. Wow. Of course. That's what it's called, just sitting. It's not just me sitting. It's just sitting. Why? Because the body's there, but you are not there. Simply mind. This is the self-absorption of the mind. The mind absorbs the self. And what that does is there's a transcendence, which is called the self-nature of mind. This is how mind works. It is the self-nature of mind. If you cannot control that, then this one here will be bringing up all sorts of appearances on this side, all sorts of different things that are coming up. After a while, the method is gone, and it's just obscured. This cannot see. When all of this is gone, or these things just flow through, then there's no obstructions there, because the mind clearly sees that what is appearing in mind is not an obstruction, it's an imagination. It is a bubble in a stream. You pop the bubble in the stream, and then it'll all go away. This will all become clear. I have to use my left hand. So this becomes clear. It's just the way it is. This is what's called the thusness of things. This is a Tathagata Garbha, the Buddha womb. Everything works in this way. When you understand how mind works, then you understand how to meditate. When you meditate, you do not think. You're in a state of Wu Nian, no thinking, mind is at rest. Okay. And so when the mind is at rest, then it works fine. When we begin to do this, you're going to run into a problem, because rather than thoughts going away, you're going to have a lot of thoughts. A lot of thoughts. They've always been there. You just have not been able to see them because you're just linking yourself to one thought. So it's like the difference between if we had a glass and there's not really a brown. Some kind of a blue fluid in here. Just imagine this is Coca-Cola, a new brand. And you just poured it, and there's all these fizzes on the top. Right? And so you're looking down at this with your eye. And what do you see? You see the bubbles on the surface that are going this way. That's normally how you see things. Only the surface bubbles you can see. Everything else is obscured. When you begin to practice in the proper way that you penetrate through everything, then it's as if you have 7-Up or Sprite. I don't want to get into the trademark problems here. Okay. The drink of your choice of lemon lime. But here, not only do you see the bubbles here, but you see all the way through down to the bottom. These are not even thoughts. They're thoughts or ideas of thoughts that are potential to come. You've never recognized them before because you don't have the insight to be able to see that far into mind, that these are the potentiality of thoughts that are just waiting for you. So if a bubble comes up here, you know, of a donut, and it rises here, donut, and you go, ooh, donut, and then all of a sudden, many donuts start surfacing. No, some of them, they may have like jelly inside of them. Why? Because you brought them to the surface. You couldn't see them. They were there, but you couldn't see them. Here, when we see the things, we see these donuts lingering down here, but we don't pay attention to them. If the mind's eye looks and there's something like a little donut, all of these will start coming to the surface. They'll be attracted by that. And then you'll have a big donut problem. Okay. And so it is this way that the mind works. When you understand that, then when you meditate, is you see the donut going by, donut, Krispy Kreme, raspberry filled, lemon filled, oh, lemon filled. You let them go by. You just let it go by like it. So as you're meditating, these things will happen, but you just see them like clouds. Well, that's like a polluted cloud. Okay. Like clouds forming and just going by, by. You just let all of that go. You don't try to push it out of mind. Why? Because it's already in the storehouse. It's there. You've put it there. These habitual tendencies are there. And so they're naturally going to come back. And then when you are there and everything is very quiet, then one's going to come up and it's going to be, instead of the donut, it's going to be ego, like going, oh, good job, Gilbert. Good job. You're doing really good. You haven't had a thought in 2 minutes. You should congratulate yourself. Or people will go, oh, I'm doing so good. Wait till I tell Gilbert about this. You replace the donut with your ego. And so you have to be able to use what's called subtle wisdom to be able to let that go. Let it go. Let it go. All you're doing is you just sitting. Mind is just sitting, looking at mind. If mind looks at mind, what does mind see? Infinity. You do not know that. You have no idea of what infinite is because you're an obstruction to the infinite. But if you let that go, understanding all these appearances, they belong to mind. They will dissipate on their own. They will go away. You just have to have patience to let them go by. Let them go by, let them go by, let them go by. You don't hold on to anything. You are just there, mind resting, looking at mind. Two mirrors looking at each other. It's rest, it's peace, real peace. Not a conjured up one. You're going, oh, I feel so good. No, it's not like that. It's just simply the mind is at rest. Not bad. When you get up, the mind is at rest. It can function. You don't get up and go, what happened to you? I can't move. I don't know who I am. It isn't in that way. Maybe for a little bit. But then when you come back, then everything will just be the way it is. The only difference is that you know that you're navigating in a dream. That's a difference. It's a very important difference. So when you see this and you understand everything belongs to mind, you don't have to purge the mind. Even if you purge the mind here, you made it blank, all you're doing is you're generating blank thoughts that come up and obscure the mind. This will call entering the devil's cave or a dark cave. It's just like going into a refrigerator and closing the door. So if you go into a refrigerator and close the door, what do you see? Nothing, right? Because the light goes off. Presumably, I've never been one to jump in the refrigerator, but I'm imagining it would go off. At least when you push the button, it turns off. So nothing is seen, but that's not good. There's no wisdom there. Wisdom is here when we look through and we see these things and say, because of this, because of that, this. And this is like from the Nikayas and the Buddha. The Buddha was talking very simply in the Nikayas when going, because of this. How simple does it get, right? How simple does it get? If you get angry at this person will get angry at you. Or they will not like you because of this. And you see everything as arising in mind in this way. Arising in mind. Not your mind, not their mind, in mind. So we are all the caretakers of this environment. We want to take care of it rather than cause trouble. Now, Right now, is there any questions? No questions? Okay, I'm going to get you guys off your cushion for a little bit, and you can take a break and then come on back in, and we're going to start to meditate. Okay?